I used to, before I got on the pork festival board, I would say and I wonder, just in, I'm going to go cash in some pork.
Attention in the barns, we need Haley Rogers and Andrew Ham to the holding ring, please. Haley Rogers and Andrew Ham.
We're trying to round up the 6th place hog and get it in its pen, but there's still 3 other barrows out here that we're going to talk about. Young lady there on the far end does a nice job of showing this belted barrow here. He's just one that, for me, gives up some of that muscle mass, particularly up high when you study this one, right at the top side of his blade. You got to pull that one open and push his chine down in him. Good design, kind of blue barrel, was real close to getting a pin too. He just, again, kind of runs out of that wood power and muscle needed to compete with hogs at this particular weight. Same argument can be made for the young man's kind of pulling bear here at the far end. A really good design kind of hog. Just kind of runs out of the sheer gas and horsepower as he's stepping behind them to compete with those hogs ahead of him. Nice class of hogs. Let's give those individuals a hand as they exit the ring.
Attention in the barns. The following people need to be getting their pigs ready. We will be calling you shortly. Do not bring them yet. Michaela Morris, Megan Rail, Grant Solander, Leah Schmidt, Kinsley Brady Sarl, Claire Sarl. Hang on a minute. Claire Sarl, Hannah Wells, and Grant Solander.
Okay.
Interesting class of hogs and two really nice bears that kind of surface to the top, but bears that even in between themselves have some differences from one another. I do think there's one though that the longer and longer the drive wears on, I think is just more comfortable off of both ends of its skeleton, and that's the young lady's blue bear walking at the far end. She's going to win this particular class. I'll be the first to admit, this one needs to be better from a skin and hair standpoint. I would like to freshen him up in that regard, but at the same time, I think it's just his overall balance and design that really separates him over the young man sparrow in second. The young man sparrow in second, by every stretch of the imagination, is a powerhouse. This one's really busted open from blade and knee to ground. He's really big and bold up high. He's got a big rib cage working through him, and he's really stout pinned. And I'm someone that likes moderate hogs. But don't get me wrong, at the same time, this guy to me just leads a little too quick in terms of his overall maturity pattern and almost just has too much at this particular size. We just like to crisp this guy up, particularly through that front 1/3 of his skeleton. Maybe bring his back legs just a little bit closer together because he's kind of on the corners going away. But a real nice kind of bear that slots second in a tough kind of class. Bear that comes out next here in third is one that's really tall-shouldered and elevated, a bear that's got some shape up high, a bear that has some skeletal width off of both ends, but at the same time, when you study this one going away, you'd like to change him and square him up from hock to ground. Bear that comes out next here in fourth, again, in terms of body style and composition, this one's my kind. He just simply runs out of the general muscle shape, particularly as you step in right behind him going away. He gets a little bit too plain in terms of the way that hip's designed. We'd like to make him stouter in terms of his overall stifle, but that's a really good kind of bear that slots fourth in that class. Just runs out of true, genuine muscle shape. Bear that comes out next in five does have an added advantage in terms of just genuine muscle shape and skeletal width. At the same time, the longer the dry wears on, he wants to get a little too perpendicular off of both ends of his skeleton for me out here today. Bear that comes out next here in six, kind of Chester appearing hog, super wide base, super big rib, kind of a moderate meat kind of package. Just another one that the longer the drive wears on wants to get a little too tight off of both ends of his skeleton. Young lady coming out next in seventh with her Hereford hog does a really good job of driving this one. For a Hereford, this is certainly one that's stout about his skull and big in his forearm and foot. At the same time, probably gets a little bit flatter in terms of his rib, a little bit plainer in terms of that overall muscle shape as you step in behind that one as well. And then we round up the class with a young man's crossbred bear that's really practical in terms of his design and has some look up front. He's just another one that for me, we just like to pry him open, particularly on the top side of the skeleton and compete with those hogs up ahead of him. Nice class of hogs. Let's give those individuals a hand.